We have only gotten one number for Rings of Power viewership, which of course people have found suspicious. If you want to prove the haters wrong, you throw any information at them that you could to make them feel incorrect. Yet with House of the Dragon, we have received weekly updates on viewership, but now new polls are releasing showing the demand between the two shows, and it really looks like House of the Dragon has no competition. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this is an article from The Wrap. It says demand for House of the Dragon could soon double that of Rings of Power. I have been watching both of these shows, and I've got to be honest, I am much more excited to see House of the Dragon and how the season is going to end. I have been watching the Rings of Power as well, and it just has not kept me interested. I'm sick and tired of seeing all the retcons they're doing, all of the new characters, the new storylines. It doesn't feel like Tolkien's world. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. I have not been enjoying it, and I went into it trying to give it a chance, but it has just been massively disappointing. So it says, while demand for HBO's House of the Dragon has risen week after week, demand for Amazon Prime Video's The Rings of Power fell by 13% according to Parrot Analytics data, which takes into account consumer reach, streaming, downloads, and social media, among other engagement. We have seen the viewership for House of the Dragon rise week after week. I have talked about it before, but people are showing up, and even more people are giving House of the Dragon chances. Yet with the Rings of Power, Amazon has been very silent on viewership, on interaction. Of course, when the show first aired, they said the premiere numbers hit 25 million worldwide, and then we found out that only 1.8 million of those viewers were in the United States. But they haven't released any other information, which a lot of people find very suspicious. It says, though, another week like this in the Game of Thrones prequel will have twice the demand of the Rings of Power. If the trajectories of both of these shows remain on this path, it looks like HBO will have won the much-anticipated face-off without there even being much of a fight at all. That is terrible news for Amazon because they shoved so much money into the Rings of Power, and you would think that a Lord of the Rings show would do a lot better than a Game of Thrones show. I know that Game of Thrones is very popular as well. I love it too, don't get me wrong. But you would think that the Rings of Power would be able to easily beat House of the Dragon, and right now it's just really not. From the numbers that we have, people are just very unimpressed with the Rings of Power. It's taking a lot of heat on social media, and overall people are just very underwhelmed with it. This was a massive gamble for both of these companies because these are two properties that are in direct competition with each other. I mean, House of the Dragon aired a week before Rings of Power, and it actually will end a week after the Rings of Power, just judging by the number of episodes in each show. And it looks like HBO and House of the Dragon are just ruling right now. It says, holding on to the top spot again, House of the Dragon widened its lead over rival shows on this week's ranking of breakout shows. Last week, it looked like the early hype around the series may have been subsiding, but the 13% growth in demand for the show this week put it comfortably ahead of other recent premieres, with 55.4 times the average series demand. And also looking at both of these series, the reception to them has been very different. If we go on over to Rotten Tomatoes, House of the Dragon is sitting at an 85% critic score, but also an 84% audience score, which is pretty solid. And then if we look at the Rings of Power, it is sitting at an 84% critic, but a 38% average audience score, which of course is terrible. I mean, for a show with $1 billion put into it, lots of time, lots of effort. I mean, they've got 5 seasons planned right now, apparently, even though they've only greenlit one other one. A 38% score is just a complete wash for them. And of course, the critic score is pretty good, but people are very convinced that the critic scores have been purchased, that there is a lot of review manipulation going on right now. And of course, if we look at IMDb, those ratings aren't accurate either because Amazon owns IMDb and a lot of reviews have been magically disappearing from that site. But as you can see, audiences feel very differently about these shows. House of the Dragon, 84%, but Rings of Power, a 38%. And we have seen House of the Dragon skyrocketing in viewers. This was an article from yesterday when I'm recording this video. House of the Dragon viewership rises another 3% after the time jump in episode 6. It says the series is now seeing steady bumps with each installation. Episode 6 marks its third consecutive week of growth. Episodes 4 showed a 5% increase and episode 5 showed a 3% increase as exclusively reported by Variety. So, the hype around the show is still growing and people are very excited to see what is going to come next. I do think that there are some glaringly obvious problems with House of the Dragon, like the timeline and the skipping. I do think that it's pretty bad. This show is great otherwise, though, and I get why people are looking forward to it and why so many people are giving it a chance now that there's been a couple of episodes and it's not a Game of Thrones season, 7 or 8. It says the calculation of these increases account for both cable viewership across 4 airings on HBO on Sunday, as recorded by Nielsen, and viewers across HBO Max and other HBO platforms through the night. The specific count of people who watched House of the Dragon Episode 6 has not been disclosed, though Variety was able to confirm the percent increase in viewership. Additionally, as of September 20th, Season 1 was seeing an average of 29 million viewers per episode, a significant feat for any cable series, even with the help of streaming. And the only number we've gotten for Rings of Power was that the premiere had hit 25 million views, and that's it. That's all that we heard. And then, of course, the rest of the article just talks about the general plot of the show and why people like House of the Dragon so much. Clearly, Amazon has some fierce competition with House of the Dragon, and I do hope by the end of the series they release all of the viewership numbers for the Rings of Power. I highly doubt they will, because they, of course, have released that first number. It didn't shut people up the way that they expected it to, and I think that they're just a little bit scared of facing any more backlash with this show at this point. But House of the Dragon is absolutely dominating the competition right now. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.